Sure.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so what are we going to do today together? Well, Mohammed, thanks for the intro. I'm actually pretty excited as well. Why? Because, well, as you said, I've been working with startups and entrepreneurs and their teams for a while now as a language coach, as a communication coach, intercultural communication coach, and I've taught English as well. Uh, uh, at schools, to children, to teenagers, to university students, to adults. And I confess that these startup people are amongst my favorite. Uh, we're all teachers. We shouldn't have favorites. I'm not talking about like having a specific student favorite, but as teachers, as is any job, we do have tendencies to prefer working in certain scenarios. We can't just consider teaching English as this global thing that caters to everyone in every single different case, etc. I hope to inspire you a little bit with this startup project on two main fronts, basically. There's the front of PBL. As Mohammed said, you were talking to Ron Moraine about it. So first things first, if you're interested in project-based learning or any of the other PBLs, by the way, there are other different kinds of PBLs. I highly recommend to follow Ron Moraine on social media. He's really fantastic to stay in touch with what is going on around the world in ELT. PBL, project-based learning, I'm excited on that front because I find it's a very powerful methodology, very efficient way of coaching. And yet I know the feeling because it took me some time to get into it. It requires effort at the beginning because it really is different to teaching by the textbook. And we're not always sure as teachers how we're going to maintain a good level of language development with PBL, because PBL, the students are focused on their project. And that's great. They're going to achieve something. But we as teachers also have goals, and it's always easier to have a basic lesson plan with a clear target language and things like that. So I'm going to show you how I navigate PBL in that way. It's a very powerful methodology, and I wanted to bring to you a practical case of it to show you how to use it. It's called a startup project, and I'm also excited about this on the second front, the startup project aspect, because, well, if any of you are in business English teaching or teaching at already a certain level, I highly recommend exploring the world of startups, entrepreneurs. They're very interesting students because they have very, very clear goals. When I am taking on a startup, an entrepreneur, or their team, we have very clear goals as to why they're learning English. Our goal is maybe a successful pitch, get some investors. Maybe it's to develop a new market. Maybe it's to reach out to customers, to partners. There are a lot of different cases. Startups are vibrant parts of the economy. And I highly recommend, if you're interested, try working with them. This startup project might give you a good idea of how to get into that world. Why? Because all startup projects, they all need, what do they need? What do startup projects need? Any guesses? Or if you've already worked with startups, what are their main goals, main needs? If they're reaching out to a language coach, a communication coach, what are their needs? What are they hoping to achieve through this coaching? They need to spread. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll show you the designing of the PBL activities. They're coming. So clear message. Let people know about their services. Any other ideas? Create samples. All right, Shema, you've already worked. Nora, to enhance their employee skills. Ahmed, customer needs. You're all right. There's so many different scenarios, but they're all related to business, right? Everything you're writing here, clear goals message, let people know about their services, samples, customer needs, etc. Absolutely. Startups are not like large companies that have a safety net. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's a very good word in business, a safety net. Investors banking, a lot of funds in the bank accounts, things like that. Startups are much more volatile, and they have very clear needs at one moment in time. Those needs can evolve very quickly. So I chose to do a startup project based on the first basic need, usually that a startup has, securing funding. So we're going to do basically a startup pitch. We're going to accompany our students here in the activities I'm going to show you today on a path to secure funding, to do a startup pitch and get investors involved. Ooh, Iman wrote something as well in personal living. They encourage self-direction and planning. You're absolutely right. So we're going to start with the startup pitch. And I'm going to show you a series of practical activities that's really going to help you develop in your students working in this startup. Oh, by the way, you can do this with teenagers. Teenagers love these startup projects. We're going to develop a startup pitch by keeping in mind both the end business goal of having a powerful pitch that convinces investors and of developing language language skills so that they do it with ease, with comfort. We all agree accuracy is not 100% necessary, but I am against the fact of completely forgetting about accuracy because accuracy gives confidence. Accuracy makes a pitch better. So the startup pitch, well, we're always told to open with a joke, right? I highly recommend this little cartoon that you can show your startuppers, let's call them that, to get the discussion flowing about a funding pitch. What is a startup pitch? You're going to talk to investors. You want to convince them to give you money to continue working on your project. All right. How are we going to do that? What is a powerful pitch? Well, it's a common joke in the startup world. It's a bit old now. We all know Uber. But it used to be said that all you had to do was just say that you were like Uber and investors would want to give you money. Sadly, it's just a joke. It's not true. You need a powerful pitch. So what is a powerful pitch for a startup project? Well, we need three main things. We need a clear target audience that experiences a clear problem or pain that we have a solution to. So the solution is the product or the service that the startup is going to market. The target audience clearly tells us to who this product or service is for. And the problem or pain they experience is really going to help us determine how much the market, that's target audience, needs our product and is willing to buy it. So this is really, in business terms, what our startup entrepreneur students, or if you're working with teenagers or university students, this is their goal, to have this at the end in a clear, concise manner, because investors don't have much time. So we want to help them convey in a clear, concise way who, why, and what. How are we going to do that? Involving some language development, because we need to help those we are coaching to develop their language at the same time. Well, a first way of looking at the target audience that I find very interesting in terms of language development is thinking, if we want to be clear and concise, we need to maximize the amount of words we use. We want to make sure that the words we use are not too many and they're powerful. How do we do that to describe a target audience, for example? Well, look at this. This blog is for young parents raising their kids abroad, single parents struggling with the modern pace of life, middle-aged parents recently divorced. Of course, these are 3 different blogs, but this is an example of a blog about parenting. And instead of being a general blog about parenting for all parents on planet Earth, it's a blog that really, in a clear, concise way, tells you who it's for. If you match the description, you know what you're getting from this blog. We can even expand it. So I think you see in the structure that we have a noun, we have adjectives, and we have an ing or ed clause at the end. What's that give our students? Training this structure, it's a good way just to help them develop this fluency. I'm going to show you the activities for that, to keep making this little structure that is clear and concise in a repetitive way, so it becomes fluent. We can even expand, depending on the level of your students, of course, on the order of adjectives: opinion, physical, function. And we can expand that. We're all English teachers. We know that even the physical part, we can go into the order of origin, size, material, all those things. That is for you to judge based on your students, all right? But this is a clear activity that we can do to develop this skill of clearly, concisely explaining something. On my blog, you'll read about effective techniques proven by specialists, positive reinforcement designed for difficult children, new motivation strategies developed by psychologists. The last one has 4 elements. But still, it's clear, it's concise, it's to the point. And your students in that world are going to see the value of that, of being able to be clear and concise in a fluent way. So how are we going to develop that? Well, we want to give our students the opportunity to practice and repeat, do it more and more and more and more. So what I do is I give my students little cards with different ideas of blogs, gadgets, products, services, things like that. It's quite general. And for each card, they need to come up with 3 descriptions like this. Let's do it together so it's really practical and you see what it is. So I want everybody in the chat, try to write 3 different target audiences for each of the blogs or gadgets I'm going to show you. Just like in this example, okay? If it's a blog, this blog is for young parents raising their kids abroad. I don't know, if it's a desk, I'm on the desk right now. It's a wooden it's a wooden business desk, for example, a chair, whatever it is, whatever I give you, describe who it's for, all right? So let's start with this first one. A blog about meditation. Imagine that you're writing a blog about meditation and you want to make sure that the right people find your blog. There's so many blogs about meditation online nowadays. It's really trendy. Everybody wants to meditate. So maybe we can target a much more specific audience to hook them into our blog. So who is right in the chat? Very good, Shaima. Stressed housewives? Try to add an ing or ed clause at the end. Stressed housewives, experiencing stressed housewives, having trouble managing their 5+ children, dealing with daily routine. Very good, Shaima. Highly stressed executives experiencing burnout. Very good. So you see, Gabby, Shaima, both of your blogs are dealing with completely different target audiences. And by describing your blogs that way, you optimize your target audience finding you. Instead of, imagine Shaima, if Gabby's target audience ends up on your blog, of course they're going to feel weird about it and they're not going to subscribe. That doesn't mean that your blog is not good. It simply means that it wasn't targeted to the right audiences. Same thing for Gabby. If the stressed housewives go on Gabby's highly stressed executives experiencing burnout blog, it just might be a different design, something that they don't expect, something that doesn't speak to them. Jasmine says, stressed people overwhelmed with work, interested in this type of sport. Iman, overworked middle-aged, finding no time for self. Very nice. So we're offering meditation mainly, I see it's mainly work and daily routine at home. Burnt out breadwinners. Natasha, very nice, very nice. Depressed teachers facing the world. I was sure, thank you, Ahmed. We need a meditation blog for teachers, right? Now, Ahmed is targeting not just any kind of teachers, but depressed teachers. Ahmed, do you think there are a lot of depressed teachers out there? Oh my God. But very nice, you're getting it. It's exactly that. It's a clear, concise way of describing what you need. Okay, let me give you another one. Imagine you're writing a blog about life on Mars. That's a bit weird. Blog about meditation? Wide audience nowadays. A blog about life on Mars. Well, what does that mean? Is it science fiction? Is it actually scientific based as kind of a blog to plan the next missions on Mars? Who do you think this blog is for? Teens interested in science and space exploring. Nice. Target green hair lovers. Okay. Gavi, crazy and brave people searching for adventure. All right, so yours is going to be very practical. Star Wars fans. Nice. You see here, I feel from Natasha, it's going to be less scientific, more science fiction. Any other ideas? Blog about life on Mars. Is it science or is it science fiction? Or is it, as Ahmed suggested, a new kind of dating blog for green hair lovers? Both. Ooh, one last one from Iman. Adventurous scientists looking for a challenge. Very nice. They do. Absolutely. Space is a big thing nowadays. I personally am a big fan of space exploration. I remember being a kid visiting Cape Canaveral in Florida. It was amazing. To me, it personally all started actually with the film Apollo 13 that I saw when I was a kid, and it fascinated me. All right, very nice. Let me give you another one. Other solutions for the end of the world. Nice. Okay, let's provoke our students a little bit. What about a blog about foolproof ways to identify a psychopath? Who is this blog for? What kind of blog is this for? People want to invade the space. Very nice, Nora. So what about the blog about foolproof ways to identify psychopath? You'll notice I have a very edgy sense of humor and I like to provoke students. Why? Not for provocation's sake, but well, I find students, when provoked, it shocks a bit their brain. It wakes them up, and it helps them to produce very interesting ideas, and it distracts them from language. When your students are doing this, I don't want them to be thinking too much on the whole structure, adjective, noun, Ving, VED structure, or anything like that. I really want them to play with it. So, provocation, a blog about foolproof ways to identify psychopaths. Target audience, help me. Shaima, 30 plus single ladies. Shaima, what are all psychopaths men? That makes me feel very bad for my gender. Gabby, scapegoats wishing to protect themselves from toxic co-workers. Nice, Gabby. Ahmad, I like Ahmad did not need to be more clear or concise about his target audience. He just generally said politicians. I think, Ahmad, most of us will agree with you. One word was enough for your target audience. Natasha, for people who want to survive the future of the world. Shaima, yes, men, of course. Hey, I take offense. Jasmine, musicians. I hope not all musicians are psychopaths. I have less experience with musicians, so. But I trust you, Jasmine. So you see, it's nice, I find, doctors talking to self-good planners who teach students in the digital age. Nice. All right, you have plenty of brilliant ideas. The goal here, I hope you can see, what I'm sharing with you is an activity where I'm doing it on purpose, you see, to mix things that are very common, very trendy, a blog about meditation, something that speaks to everyone. Everybody's seen that a lot of times online. Okay, it's very trendy. That's what a lot of people do. Okay, that's a very common idea. A blog about life on Mars. Well, that's kind of speaking to certain, as you said, space, science fiction, science. It's a thing that can go different avenues, different directions. And finally, something provocative, like a blog about foolproof ways to identify a psychopath. And I continue like that with different ideas like that. A gadget to monitor your health. Very common. An app to sort through your photos and videos. That is an app that could go very different directions. Students have a lot of fun with that. A gadget to charge your devices from your body movements. Oh my God. Now this is a bit more provocation, you see. The learners will have, they'll be shocked, and have a lot of fun with that idea. An app to turn any news coverage into humorous headlines. I thought of that personally for us teachers. Imagine if we had an app like that. It would be brilliant. We could always feed our students with good discussions about what's going on in the world today, but turn it into a humorous headline thing. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh my goodness, me too. A gadget to that. I'm sorry, little typo there. A gadget that calms the nerves. And finally, it's nice if you're working with real professionals to have a card in the middle of there, your product, your service. Because they don't expect it, and all of a sudden, damn, okay, you've been thinking about all these different target audiences for different apps, products, services, things like that. And out of the blue, your product, your services comes up. It's very good. You'll see that you're helping them think outside the box. So you're developing language skills with these people, critical thinking, thinking outside the box. You're helping their business goals. You are helping them in so many different ways. I just love working with startups, entrepreneurs, their teams. It is fascinating. But let's move on, because we have now a clear way of describing our target audience, the who, their pain or fear, right? Remember, that's the why in this blog is about. But we haven't really touched the mission statement. What is our solution? What are we bringing to the table? And here, I'd like to inspire you with 3 more language skills that I find can be taught very differently. You can put the mission statement in the context of 3 different language skills or grammar points that you will see can be presented in a very novel way, aimed at the goal of the students, the goal in communication. I always like to remind my students, if something exists in a language, it means it serves a purpose in communication. There's nobody, or to quote Ahmad, there are no politicians behind a language dictating what grammar and vocabulary stays or disappears just on their own. A language evolves through communication. So everything that exists in English today serves a purpose because people used it and people continue using it. Some things might lose their purpose and disappear from language. New things might come up. But really, there's no reason to hate any grammar points or anything in a language, because if they exist, it means they all serve a purpose, a communicational necessity. If you can find the communicational necessity behind a language skill, the teaching is so much easier. For example, what if you want to express that your target audience has trouble dealing with change? There's a very nice language skill in English used to talk about comfort in change. Get used to structure. I know it seems complicated. I know a lot of learners struggle with that structure because it looks so weird. It's so different to other languages. Get used to. Wait, but didn't we learn used to, didn't used to as a completely, well, not completely, but as a different, what is this get used to? Actually, if you explain it in terms of get used to are just a tool in English to talk about how comfortable you are with a change, then becomes all so much easier. And you see that it serves such a vital purpose here to express yourself clearly and concisely. I could say this in a different way, but it would take a much longer sentence or paragraph even. But here I can say, people are used to working remotely now. I'm pitching my product. It's an online product for professionals. And I can tell the investors, oh, don't worry, people are used to working remotely now. They want our product. They need our product. We have a strategy to get people used to our system. Again, I mean, you're developing a new software. Well, investors are going to ask, whoa, we know the problem of getting people to change their software, especially at work. Don't worry, we have a strategy to get people used to our system. You're talking about comfort and change. Get used to are beautiful expressions, very useful in the business world, in the startup world, to do that. Deflecting responsibility, when you don't want to take responsibility for something. Ooh, I'm reminded of Ahmad's joke again now. Politicians, what do? Do politicians take responsibility when they make mistakes? No. What do they use? Passive voice in English. All languages have different tools to do exactly the same thing. But in English, if you want to deflect responsibility, you don't say, I made a mistake. You say, a mistake was made. We're terribly sorry. A mistake was made. We're working hard to fix that. You see, in this way of communicating what I just said, I did not openly take responsibility at all. I'm actually deflecting that responsibility. I'm saying a mistake was made. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. And I'm focusing on the future. We're working on a solution. We'll get back to you very soon. Communication, the way you communicate an issue is very important. And students need to understand that. Passive is very useful in English to deflect responsibility. When hackers breach data and things like that, a company doesn't say, oh my God, we lost your data. They say some data has been breached. Now, what about the opposite? A third language skill that I love using in these startup projects to take responsibility. Causatives, to have something done. Well, here you're taking responsibility for someone else doing something. But why are you taking responsibility? Because it was your initiative. We had our company audited. Did we audit our company ourselves? No. But I'm not going to say that they audited our company, because that sounds like we were in trouble, we did something, or we did something wrong, and those guys decided to audit us. No. No, 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 no. Oh, yes, absolutely. We're talking to investors at the moment, and we need to make sure that everything is square, everything is to norms in our company. So to prepare for the investment and all the contracts and everything, we had our company audited. We ourselves asked another professional company to come take a look at our company and do an audit. I'm taking responsibility because that's me. I didn't do it myself, but I engaged it. I'm going to have a new layout designed. I'm not going to design it, but I'm going to lead and manage that project. You see, these little tools, these language skills are very useful. They make or break a business conversation, because the way we interpret what happened is very different. So how to help our students develop that as well? Well, same kind of thing, okay? Card fluency activities, repetition, where the students are going to think about this and try to use it more and more, faster and faster. The faster and faster part is not to overstress the students. If you see that students are overstressed, you're asking them to do it too fast. But if they're not stressed at all and doing very calmly and everything, the brain is not working hard to memorize and is not developing, is not automating this. We want to help our students build those reflexes. So again, cards. I'm going to give you startup ideas now. And now, instead of describing the target audience, I'd like you to describe what the product does, how it helps people. Okay. Now, again, you do not have to use these skills. As I said here, I want to just give you a practical example. But with my students, I might be working on one of these skills. I might be working on two. I might be working on all of them. That is really, it depends on your class, your students, what level they're at. Here is where our personal skills as a teacher come into place. So let me give you some startup ideas, and I'd like you, please, in the chat, just to write your ideas, what this product or service is going to do. Oh, I love this idea. A sarcasm sensor. Imagine your startup is developing a sarcasm sensor. Can you describe concisely how that's going to work? What is it doing? What is it a solution for? Is it an app on a phone? Is it an actual gadget? And what does it do? Is it a sarcasm sensor for parents not used to dealing with teenagers? Or the opposite? Teenagers not used to explaining every teenage joke to parents. Very good, Shaima. Yeah, dad jokes. We do our best, and we do our best. It's hilarious that you it's hilarious that you say that, because I follow, I think, two comedians on Instagram who are experts at that. They post just very, very bad dad jokes. Omar spotting mom's jokes. Okay, anything apart from dad and mom jokes? You wouldn't like a sarcasm sensor? What about at work for your boss, your manager? Mm-mm. All right, Nora. It's an application that gives you ideas or statements to protect yourself and reply to sarcasm. Nice. So you see, Nora's app is for replying, not understanding. Gabby, teenagers on the spectrum who don't get sarcasm and are embarrassed by it. Very nice for the teens. Ely, for translating cultural attitudes to directness and sarcasm. Okay, culture, you're absolutely right, Eiley. It's a very, very good point. A sarcasm sensor might be used in intercultural uh, uh, communication. Spotting. Okay, Natasha adds spotting siblings jokes. I'm expecting someone to add spotting grandparents jokes soon. No? That's what I thought, Shaima. Yeah, the sensor would probably explode next to you. Yes. Omar, spotting and smashing my manager's head. So you see, Omar, this is not an app anymore, huh? You're developing a gadget because your sarcasm sensor doesn't just spot, but it also smashes. All right. Iman, a wireless gadget that can be used by non-native speakers to get where natives are sarcastic in their speech writing. That's a very clear need. Very good, Iman. It's a good joke, and at the same time, it's a very clear need. All right. That's a good bunch of ideas. Let me give you another idea. A fashion tips app. For foreigners visiting other countries, perfect. Now, what about a fashion tips app? That's something actually quite common, right? I mean, fashion is everywhere online. So there's a lot of competition for this product or service. What is your fashion tips app? What pain, problem is it solving, and how is it solving that? For single people who are going on a date or to impress someone. All right, Natasha. So your fashion tips app is really going to be focused on dating. Very nice. For girls, sorry, Shaima. For girls who say we have nothing to wear. Thank you, Shaima. Spread the word. Nora, for matching colors. Thank you, Nora. On that, I would need it because, well, I have to confess, like fashion and me. Jasmine, girls who are nuts about shopping. Very nice. And Ahmad, useful when traveling, occasions. All right, so you see, very different. So Jasmine's app would be more about an app for daily usage. I mean, girls who are nuts about shopping, they're going to be on your app a couple of times a day. Whereas Ahmad, useful when traveling occasions. This is more of a sporadic app. It's not an app that people are going to jump on every day. People who are colorblind. All right, perfect. Well, that's the idea. I love this next one. An app that predicts the success of a joke. I mean, that too, a bit like the sarcasm sensor. Honestly, like I work online and I travel with cultures all over the world. It's lovely, it's brilliant. But yes, sometimes you're never the best way to deal with it is always to smile and to be kind and open-minded. But sometimes there are misunderstandings. And yes, a sarcasm sensor plus an app that predicts the success of a joke in intercultural communication, it's going to be wonderful. Wonderful. I love all these ideas. And believe me, all you need are 9 cards with 9 ideas, and the students go, one after the other. Remember, very important, 3 ideas per card. 3 ideas per card. The students need to repeat. They need to do it over and over and over again, and they need to do it faster and faster and faster. For fun, for the students who are ready for it, I include a timer sometimes. It's good fun. It can be a challenge like how fast can you go through all the cards, or it can be a fun challenge like how many ideas per card in 1 minute. There are a lot of different challenges you can do with a timer. And the goal of the timer is just to put the human brain in the condition of stress where it develops reflexes. It processes information that's been repeated and repeated and repeated, and it goes, okay, well, we've understood it. We've done it a number of times. It always works. So let's automate it. That's what the brain does. Perfect. Finally, thinking outside the box. This cartoon, but you'll find plenty online, is always good fun to introduce thinking outside the box, thinking creatively to students. They always laugh. But what we want to do, what I like in this activity, I'm really sorry we're not going to have time to actually do the activity because the next speaker is coming up. And I just want to share this all with you. But I'm going to show you the activity. What you do to force your students to think outside the box is all of a sudden you ask them to change the historical context. So the product or service that they have, you keep it, but then you ask them, well, imagine if you were marketing it in the year of the building of the Titanic in Europe, the gold rush in the US, the building of the Great Wall in China. So many historical contexts that can be in the future, in the past. It's loads of fun, and students really are pushed to rethink their product in that historical context. Again, 9 cards is all you need, and change them once in a while. You can use my cards, no problem. Feel free to use my cards. In essence, you're going to end up with this, okay? A clear structure for your entrepreneurs, your startup teams to pitch their idea. And it works for practically anything. It's not just for startups, actually. A pitch is just a convincing presentation. Follow this, okay? Elevator pitch, the problem, pain you want to solve, your solution, mission statement. That is what we did through practical activities together. The rest is equally interesting, and you can do it absolutely. We just, in 45 minutes, we don't have the time to go over all those other things. But don't hesitate to contact me on social media if you want, on LinkedIn. Mohammed, if I understand correctly, I send you the presentation, or do you want me to put it in the chat here?
Yeah, yep. You can send the presentation to me. You can send it to me, email me, and then
Perfect.
I'm gonna, I post about all the presentations on our Facebook, Educast.eg.
Perfect. It'll be in PowerPoint and in PDF format. That way you can just download it and use the cards. And if you want to change them, just edit.